It's getting a little sensual with the mic. So, before the start of our Rage Quit episode, I would like to tell a little bit about Rage Quit's sponsor. So, welcome to another episode of Rage Quit, the husband and wife duo that discusses video games every week. Rage Quit is sponsored by AFK Clothing Co. Are you a gamer? Do you enjoy games? Then check out AFK Clothing Co. for all of your gaming apparel needs. As I record this, I am sporting an AFK green sleeve baseball tee that I absolutely love and wear every week. We'd never be sponsored by something we didn't like. And if you'd like to support the show, head on over to AFK Clothing Co., link in the description below, and type ASI in the promo code box to get 10% off your next order. As always, just follow the bear. And now on to the show.
All right, now it's there. Oh, wait. Oh, shit. I
like to surprise you. Even though you watched me click the record button.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know.
How did we get here? How did this happen? That's funny.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Rage Quit.
Episode 23.
Wow, really? 23 episodes already?
Yeah, we made it.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done now.
I think we said that before. We're finito. Just every episode we say that.
Yeah, last episode. Thanks for sticking around. Don't let the door hit you in the crack on the way out.
Not little looking more cracks recital.
Not again. Not again.
All right, what kinds are whom are you? Whom are you?
What's the lollipop licking owl?
Isn't it just Mr. Owl? Mr. Owl, how many likes does it take?
Mr. Owl. Like what you sound like.
Or Owl, like
yeah, you told it. You told me about Futurama. Owl exterminators. Fantastic. My name is Anthony Schultz.
My name's Ariel Schultz.
And we're Owl Exterminators.
All right.
I wish.
All right.
I wish owls were a pest problem.
I know, not rats, but owls. All right, Ken, sir, do you want to explain said housekeeping or?
Oh yeah, we got 2 mics now.
Yeah, I know that's why the audio's like way better.
Yeah, which was the goal. So now we each have a mic, and we have 2 different tracks recording and syncing together, and focus just on our individual voices instead of like picking up every noise,
every sound, every
directional
nook and
mics.
cranny, and but now yes, we got our own mics. I got the new and improved one. He's got an old one.
Wow, they call me out. Just shows that I have experience.
Is that what they call it nowadays?
Oh.
That didn't make it any better, so you know. All right, other housekeeping?
No, I don't think we do. No housekeeping.
No housekeeping. Just exciting news that we got 2 mics now.
Yeah, so I guess we're planning on like upping our equipment game we have kind of across the board for our company like this past month or so. So if you do follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/ASInquisitor, the streams there are kind of new and improved as well.
Yeah, because you finally got a capture card.
Yeah, so I got a nice Elgato capture card, the HD60S. Specifically so I can use it with my MacBook, but as well as stream retro games and consoles. So that's kind of the big goal for the channel, is to focus more on retro games and retro consoles. I'll still be doing some new stuff like Borderlands 3. And,
Doom Eternal when it comes out.
Yeah, all that
Animal
week
Crossing,
we'll be doing Doom
Luigi's
Eternal.
Mario Mansion, Luigi's Mario.
Luigi's Mario. He's a slave. Just put some lotion in the basket.
Oh no.
Oh no.
20-year slave.
That'd be hilarious. But yeah, we're going to be doing some more Nintendo Switch stuff to better tie in with our sister podcast, 64 Bits of Rage. We're going to be doing some retro stuff. And then some more new release stuff.
So you got to pour one out for your homie. Your PS1's finally.
Yeah, my PS1 dying. It was super sad. After like 20 plus years.
It was like how many fucking hours of time play do you think you have on that thing?
I'd have to look at to see how many like what's the breakdown for like 100,000 hours, but for sure tens of thousands of hours.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because it's like
I played it consistently for like 20 years.
That's what I mean, like 20.
It's the same one that I had when I was a kid, like growing up too. So, but finally, yeah, it bit the big one. So
did your ex do the bait and switch on your PS2s? It was not your PS1.
She did it with the PS2 and the Super Nintendo.
That's right.
She did the bait and switch. I got the crappy ones that she had, and then the ones that I bought.
That's why you're not too upset about the PS2 being on, because it
was like a modded one. It was really difficult to use and something that I wouldn't use. Like
No.
It was like they had like a ton of like burned discs and stuff, and I'm like, well, I actually have all those games, so
yeah, it's like
I don't need a modded one.
I'm cool because I actually bought the games.
Yeah, when they came out and have my collection still. So yeah, so I don't have a PS2 or Super Nintendo. My PS1 bit the dust finally, and so I ended up moving the PS3 into the living room. We had it in our bedroom as like a Blu-ray player, and that plays PS1 games. So
what's funny is, like, with that being said, it's having it out of the bedroom now is not a big bulky thing, and there's like the tiny sad PS1 is just in a fancy paperweight in our bedroom now.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like a decorative item, like on our dresser with our TV.
Considering how extravagant and just outlandish our house is, it fits fine.
Hey, you did, yeah. And I just put it there, and I'm like, well, the PS3 was here, why not? So I just put the PS1 there. I was like, you can stay there with all the other collectibles.
Yeah, we're not gonna do what we did to your brother's PS3 and gut you and make you into a Doug P. Rec holder.
No, it is gonna stay there. Whole and complete.
And content. Yeah, no, it was just kind of funny.
It's like we buried him.
Oh, that's what was funny we did to your brother's PS3.
Yeah, his old PS3 that
just completely just fucking gutted it out and then just made it hold a rag so we can leave the dog urine with.
Yep. Hey,
yeah.
It served its use. I saved some of the parts I could sell in the future on eBay.
eBay. Well, no, the market we need to get into right now is hand sanitizer.
Oh yeah, hand sanitizer, toilet paper. Because there's that one YouTuber that was called out.
I know, right?
For hoarding toilet paper 4 years ago.
It was a joke.
As a joke, yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, back to what is this actual podcast actually about today?
So this podcast, we're going to be talking about video game film adaptations, whether it be on the small screen or the big screen. Video games, how they've either affected the film industry or how the film industry has maybe affected the video game industry. Mm-hmm. Good adaptations, bad adaptations, things that maybe should be adapted that haven't been, that might make it now. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of good stuff out there recently. Mm-hmm. So, and then there's some kind of cult classics if you spin back the hands of time. But yeah, that's going to be our main kind of point of discussion. So do you have any like favorite video game adaptations, like movies or TV shows that you've seen?
Ninja Turtles.
That was a good one.
But, I mean,
that was a separate kind of property, though.
I don't know.
That became a video game? Is that what you're saying from film?
No, I don't think it did. Let me see which way it went. Hold a second. I gotta Google this.
I want to say that was like TV to video game.
Turtles.
Although Turtles in Time was fantastic. That was a great video game. So it works that way sometimes, too, where they do...
Or video
video games based off of film. And sometimes it works out. And Ninja Turtles is a good one for that.
The first release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was 1989.
That makes sense.
Video games. Okay, so when did the movie come out?
It was like early 90s, I want to say.
1990. So the video game was first. By like 2 years. And then they added
What about like TV show, though, and like comics and stuff? That's what I was curious about.
Well, if we're going to deep dive into that shit, then like, you know how much stuff we'd have to deep dive into? Like, that was a comic book, then a video game, then this.
I don't think we will, to be honest.
See Ninja Turtles first release. There you go.
Because it's kind of like it doesn't really matter which way it cuts because, like you look at like some of the Disney properties that became games like DuckTales and stuff like that. They really hold the test of time as games, but obviously they were animated series or animated shorts first.
Let's do the wikis.
And comic books.
Comics was 1984 to 2015.
Bam.
Films, animated series.
I like how this is gonna like drive you crazy.
It is. Because you drive me insane. You drive me insane.
I drive you insane?
Most days. Video game. Here we go. Labeled in 1989 by Konami. Makes sense. NES.
The characters originated in comic books published by Mirage Studios and expanded into cartoon series, films, and video games, toys, and other merchandise. So it started as comic books.
Well, but that's fine, though. That it's kind of cool that it started out as a comic book, and then I feel like the game was first, and then it turned into TV series and movies.
Yeah.
And there's still games and stuff about it. That's like kind of like a full circle with that one individual thing.
Yeah, that one kind of property. Because there's others that have really like stood the test of time, like Transformers and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, because they had like that was a TV series or comics.
TV series in the 80s, and then they do have like comics and stuff now.
Yeah.
Obviously, the blockbuster, Michael Bay movies and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
afterwards. They have had some games like Fall of Cybertron and stuff with kind of mixed to middling reviews, but
Well, like if you want like the ultimate stab at it, would be like Batman would be a good example.
Batman going to and that's fairly recent. Like some of the comic book properties going to film first. Well, not necessarily. I mean, because there are like some B games like kind of mixed in there, that were on like the Super Nintendo and so, that kind of generation of gaming. But like modern gaming wise, like the Arkham games are great.
Yeah.
Like very cool, like adaptation of the comic books and films and stuff. And the Batman films have been, especially the Nolan trilogy, really good. So that's obviously worked for them. Same with Spider-Man.
That's true too. Well, let's just think though distinctly, because obviously there's a pretty big list, especially when it comes to like movies and video games. Like mine that I can link back to like Mortal Kombat, because I obviously played it on the 64.
Yeah.
And
I watched that movie over and over again.
that movie's fucking great. The second one, not so much.
It's so cheesy, but I had the soundtrack to that movie on cassette. Yeah, that was the best.
Fight.
It was so good.
I know, right? And so it's like those adaptations are pretty cool, and it's it's interesting to see how they develop it, for either a comic book, TV, movie, and then video game.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting too, because like in my earliest memories of video games being adapted into movies are like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. It's like, why did they pick fighting games? Fighting games notoriously don't have great stories. I think it's really hard to find a fighting game with a really good story, because it's just based around game mechanics and characters.
True.
Not necessarily like... I mean, if it's a long-running franchise, some of the characters have really in-depth backstories now, but the overall narrative is just like them fighting. Like, there's really no, like... They try to kind of shoehorn in some, like, overarching narrative, but they're usually kind of like, I don't really care. I just want to, fight. Yeah. I want to master, Sub-Zero or something, or Ken, or whatever, depending on the franchise. But I thought it was weird that they didn't pick, because there were prominent, like, RPGs and stuff with, like, great stories, but they didn't adapt those.
Well, not till later, and do you think that's due to the fact of maybe technology and how you do like movies, if you think about it?
It could have been. I mean,
like fighting games, like you don't really. Okay, what action movie really has a storyline? Have you seen Lethal Weapon? Does it really have a story? No, you just cars blowing up, bad guys getting killed.
Yeah, fair enough. And it definitely wasn't the heyday of like action movies.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. If you think about,
Van Damme
was
in Street Fighter, so.
Well, if you think about the generational thing as well, like what year it came out, like the heyday of the movies and everything, like nowadays makes sense because it's the heyday of comics. So the heyday of like advanced technology and editing.
Yeah,
and
CGI or like de-aging and stuff and things like that, like do gangbusters.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean it can definitely like overinflate like a film budget, but as far as like the quality, it's like it's usually pretty good.
That's what I mean. It's like, when you see like Aquaman and stuff and
well, I was like, Sonic the Hedgehog's done really well, and that's based off of a 30-year-old property with also a very thin storyline, but it's done great at the...
I've never ever heard of that storyline where he's traveled in different...
No.
Yeah.
Unless there was like a Sonic game after the fact, like of the
hard to say.
originals. I do not know of it, yeah.
But yeah,
I think I read that it was like an original though. They just did like their spin on it.
Yeah, well, and that's not like with the movie.
So they could use the character.
Yeah, like with the fighting games. Like for granted, Mortal Kombat really didn't have it's kind of based on rules. You got to fight to save the world.
Yeah, which all Mortal Kombat's are pretty much
exactly.
that.
Fight to save the world. Fight. And like same with like Street Fighter. It's just so they kind of get a very thin story out of it. So. And then just action scenes with blowing up and explosions and breaking someone's back. It's cool things.
A Bane reference in there.
That Bane reference and Mortal Kombat reference.
Yeah, but I was thinking more Nightfall, which came out about the time. That comic series at least came out about the time that those movies and Mortal Kombat was coming out, which is super funny.
But like, what do you think is better, movie or a TV series for a video game adaptation?
I think nowadays TV series really
Mm-hmm.
kind of take the cake. Like, to be honest,
Why?
I think there are good. There have been a few like good adaptations of video games into film, but you see like how well like The Witcher is done on Netflix. Castlevania has its own anime series on Netflix as well. That's like kind of short form format.
Yeah.
You know, I want to say they're only like
10, 12 episodes at most.
I don't think it's even that. Because I think the first couple seasons were only like 3 episodes, 3 or 4, and then it went to like 6 to 10 or something. They're pretty small.
Yeah. So, like we're talking, like I looked it up too, and you're right. It's season 1 was 4 episodes. Season 2 had 8, and now the new season that just came out. Actually, just came out. It's March 5th. Today. Yeah, that's today.
Oh, that's hilarious. And day that
10,
we're recording, the third season of Castlevania came out.
10 episodes. Now, what do you think's even more niche? Like, I know like TV series makes more sense because some of the games are extremely long and have huge stories.
Yeah, like The Witcher, like huge RPG that lasts a really long time. I think just for like longer format things in general, like other properties outside of like television, just kind of lend credence to television. Just because television is usually, I mean, you can binge watch it, but it's not just a 2-hour film or a 3-hour film or, an hour and a half long. It's like you're actually getting, like to your point, most TV series, are usually between, 12 and like 22 episodes. Somewhere in there, depending. Let's go top end. You got 22 hours in a season to tell a story. That's a little bit closer to the actual length of a game.
True.
Like a really long running like RPG or something.
Yeah.
So I just think you can like better flesh out characters. You can kind of increase like the storytelling and stuff. You can be a little bit more nuanced or detailed. You can more easily have like subplots and stuff that audiences are going to make sense of. It's not going to be as big of an issue if you're trying to cram too much into
2 hours.
2-hour film.
2.5 hour, yeah.
Which I think, like, the technology of films was definitely catching up to, like, better adequately, like, translate video games into film, but they were trying to jam too much into a 2-hour film.
Yeah.
Like, I can think of, like, Assassin's Creed or, like, Prince of Persia, like, those films. It's just, by the time those movies came out, you had a ton of Prince of Persia games, a ton of Assassin's Creed games. So they're trying to compact a lot of lore and
into one
change
movie.
enough to make it original, but also keep a lot of the same kind of stuff so fans of the series can watch it and enjoy it. And
well, that's why I feel
got
like
a little muddled.
Assassino flopped because it's like it was not any story that we have ever heard of.
No, and it was a new character.
Your new character. I don't even think they even made a video game for him.
No, they didn't like re-tie it back in by doing an Assassin's Creed with Callum.
No, and then that's what the problem was. Like,
Who was the lead in Assassin's Creed, by the way?
Well, the Prince of Persia makes sense, though, because it was the Prince of Persia Sands of Time, and so they had him in there, and...
Yeah, those games' stories, though, are, like, it's way different than the movie.
Well, yeah, and that's, like, the problem, too, is, like, I like movies...
If they had done a beat-for-beat remake of Prince of Persia Sands of Time, it probably would have been fun, because Sands of Time is actually pretty short.
Yeah.
But it has a good story. But it also, beat for beat, game-wise, isn't giving you, like, a lot of narrative.
Yeah.
So that's probably why they changed it. That one's a lot focused on gameplay as well, too. And, like, the subtext is, like, kind of where the story's at there.
Yeah.
So that's hard to convey, like, more
From
visually.
a video game.
Like, rather than you playing it, which is different. That's hard to make that translation. Between like strict moment-to-moment gameplay to just being a passive observer and watching a movie.
Well, yeah, because like even when you're in the game, like when you're in the like for the Assassino, when you're in the Morpheus, the
Animus.
Animus, thank you. They don't have it like they did in the movie. It's not where you're jumping around.
No, they made it a lot more like stylistic and stuff, like the machine itself,
his
and him
parkour
going into
and everything.
Yeah.
But it's not like that. You're literally kind of in a tomb and you're just mentally transported to that time era where it's like showing him essentially calling being that person and jumping and like they're they made this big old thing about no one has done the eagle fall and has survived.
Yeah, like that bit as well as
with strategic place bills to pay.
they're kind of like touching base on like in the Assassin's Creed franchise, the bleeding effect is a big thing, and that's how like the abilities of the assassin's memories that you're playing as like kind of come to fruition in like the modern storyline.
That's why in the Ezio one, I'm trying to blank on his name. Desmond can do, assassino things just because he's the bleeding effect.
Yeah, it's bled over from the
Ezio,
past to the present. Yeah, so he's learning Ezio abilities as he goes through his memories. It's like muscle memory, pretty much, because you're reliving these memories in such vivid detail, which makes sense. Like, feels like you were there.
And I feel like they could have easily...
It's hard to kind of do with film.
Yeah, I honestly feel like they could have easily done that. Like, maybe truncated him in the Animus. Like, obviously see his story.
Yeah.
And then see how he's using these powers.
Yeah, I almost wish they had another Michael Fassbender kind of property, but had two really strong leads in that movie.
Yeah.
Something along the lines of, like, you had Xavier and Magneto, where it's like they, were friends, and then the actors who portrayed them were both, famous in their own right, kind of a thing. And so they kind of balance each other out, because then they were on opposite sides ideologically. You could do that with Assassin's Creed, where you have, like, the modern day, Desmond Miles, but instead, Callum Lynch, if you wanted to do a new character, and Michael Fassbender could play that, show that kind of redemption story, and then they could have picked another actor that was also very prominent to play... whatever memory sequences you had in the past.
Yeah, because when Assassino came out, didn't they start with the Assassino... Excuse me, I know I'm not pronouncing it. I'd say it like that. Assassin games. Make it to where that you didn't have to have a blood lineage.
Yeah, in the later ones, you could just...
it was about the same time the movie came out, too.
Yeah, because, like, especially the most recent ones, like Odyssey and Origins.
Where they adjusted the...
the Animus got, like,
Animus,
upgraded, pretty much, where you just needed, like, DNA samples. You didn't have to be, like, closely related to, like, align with them to play through
as
your
them.
own ancestors. Yeah, because before... It was kind of explicitly stated that you had to have, like, shared DNA.
Jacob and Evie, that's how you got away with it, because they're twins, but completely different people.
Yeah.
I think that's how that was.
Well, and it was as soon as Desmond passed away at the end of Assassin's Creed 3. The modern day storyline in Assassin's Creed, it was like Abstergo, which is like the modern version of the Templars, became... And Abstergo was in the film as well. Became... like an entertainment company, so they were like designing like video games, so you could play as these characters whether you were related to them
That's
or
what
not,
I mean, yeah.
because they were extracting information just from DNA, which made more sense. It freed them up a little bit to do more things within the game series, and they could have done that with the film as well.
And I feel like they should have. Like, I feel like there's just a few niche things that they could have adjusted to make it better. I know this is obviously very just one game or movie out of the entire series. I just feel like it flopped unnecessarily for it.
Yeah, there's improvements that they could have made to the film, and they could have pulled more from the game franchise itself to make it better.
Yeah.
To make it work.
And like you're saying, too, with, I feel like, Assassino, the Assassins, that honestly should have been a TV series.
That would have been really cool, like Netflix or Hulu or,
Whomever.
Amazon Prime or whatever.
Something.
That would have been a great TV series, because you could do...
Way more.
Yeah, like
and
each
flesh out the story.
season could be, a different character in the past, and that could be where a bulk of the action or story takes place, and it could be framed out by a present-day storyline,
I feel like
just like the games are.
Yeah, because I feel like everyone honestly says that they hate coming out of the Animus, and that they don't like playing as the people,
the
future day people, and that's when it comes to Odyssey and Origins, they cut that part out.
Yeah, you can bounce back to, like, modern day, but it's a choice. It doesn't force you to go out, which is super nice. Because I do agree, I think it's a good framework. It's a good, like, bare bones, to explain why you're playing as all these different characters and all these different time periods. So you kind of needed that just for the skeleton of it, or the foundation. But otherwise, you don't really have to see it much, or, like, really see those people. And a TV series, I think, would be better for Assassin's Creed. Because you could have someone like Callum Lynch, so say Michael Fassbender's character, and then just do like the beginning and the end of a season, and then run it as like an anthology series, like American Horror Story or something along those lines, where there's some actors that come back but play different roles,
Well,
Other times you bring in new people, but the story and the characters that are
different.
introduced,
They're not the same.
And are just on a specific time period. So, like, say season 1, you could do like Spanish Inquisition, and then, which is what the film was, and then season 2, you could do it's French Revolution now. Actor A, B, and C, they did a really good job. We wanted to bring them back. They're just going to play different roles, and then we recast for all the other roles.
Well, and the thing too,
cool.
What irritated me is with the Assassin games, it's not like you're being transported in the past. They did Michael Fassbender as he was.
Yeah, because it was like him in the past.
It was him, both eras, and it's like that's not how that goes. Like Desmond wasn't Ezio; it was two different people.
But I think what they tried to do, and I think they showed it in the film, if I remember correctly, though, is that like he looks and it's not him. It's just because he's in that person's body that he feels like that's what he looks like, and
maybe
so then that's
I
what
might have missed.
That's what the audience sees then from then on, and they just kind of like gloss over it. They do it like real quick, and then it's done. I think that happened like the first time he
would
does
have to
it.
watch the movie again to double check on that.
Just so they could keep the same actor kind of a thing, and then have a bit role for somebody else as they see that the reflection or something, and then that's it.
Well, they have that as a female accomplice or whatever. But I feel like, with TV series do more like The Witcher is doing really great because it can flesh out those stories. Like you said, they can run seasons now and then. And what's nice is too, especially with technology nowadays, editing and magic and powers and stuff like that. It's a little easier with this TV series because if you think about it, it's harder, not hard to do in a movie, but you can't have a giant dragon,
Yeah, it is easier too. Like, as like methods and costs for like CGI or special effects or even practical effects like become more and more improved, it does bleed over into television. No pun intended. And the costs for what they can do have gone down, or if they use the same kind of like budget, then they can do more with less, kind of a thing. It can look prettier,
and it's just like...
But still not, AAA blockbuster movie quality, of course. But a lot better, CGI
obviously,
than 20 years ago.
The dragon's going to look a little animated and obviously not correct. But at the same time,
But still probably better than...
a truncated movie with 2 hours when you have like a whole entire season of TV.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's hard regardless for like movies, books, to go beat for beat. And, only series I honestly remotely kind of feel was close is maybe Harry Potter. But then again, how long were those damn movies?
It was really long, yeah. And I think it's a little bit easier to translate a book into a film series than it is a video game.
Well, it is. You have the dialogue. You have the,
Yeah, you pretty much have
set up for you.
You just have to do a screenplay adaptation. But like you said, the dialogue's all there.
Yep.
And then as far as like costume design and set builds or even like CGI and special effects. It's already in the prose of a book. And then it omits the video gamer kind of mentality because there's no gameplay.
Yeah.
You don't have to get around like moment to moment gameplay or game mechanics because that's not how books function. So it makes it a little bit easier.
Well, it's like same with like comic books and stuff too. It's essentially easier because it's all there. Maybe you need to flesh out the story or the dialogue a little bit more. You have the visuals and the writing. Exactly. You just maybe need to flesh out the background and the pictures a little bit more compared to what like a video game is. It's like, you don't have that much dialogue. You don't. Or if you do have dialogue, it's hard because some of the games, like with Fallout, you pick the dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. There's like dialogue trees, so it changes the story depending on how you play. It's not like a strict, moment-to-moment conversation that you can pull script from.
Which is, I'm intrigued to see, because I haven't watched it, because I don't think The Witcher's on Hulu. Was it on Netflix?
Witcher's on Netflix.
Netflix, okay.
Yeah.
We canceled our Netflix. How that was played out, because I think with The Witcher is dialogue chosen too.
Yeah, but the thing with that series is it was a book series first.
Oh, so did they adapt the book or adapt?
They adapted the game off of the books.
Okay.
And then the TV series
kind of
off of both, yeah.
Oh, that's how they got tricksies around it.
Yeah. So what they did is they pretty much translated a book series into an action RPG series. And then they went from those two properties to a television series. So weird. Even if it's like a little bit lacking in the game per se, because of the gameplay mechanics, it can easily kind of pick back up with the book. So.
Oh, that's
because there's a book first. Yeah, it's like a famous Polish author and series that CD Projekt Red purchased a long while ago. So, and then that studio has done the Three Witcher games.
That's insane. I knew it was a book, but I obviously didn't connect the dots and put that together that they take the adaptation, the show, because I remember it having dialogue selections, and that, how do you translate that into TV, and you're like, oh, wait, it was a book beforehand, so it has already
Yeah,
dialogue,
you could just go back, like, if it was, like, a tricky spot for the screenwriter to, like, adapt for some reason.
Yeah.
If they were just, say, kind of had blinders on, we're just looking at the game, they could remove those blinders and then go to the source material and then read through that instead and adapt the books.
Like a dick move.
A little bit.
How did Castlevania work then?
Castlevania is taking like bits and pieces kind of from all the games.
Yeah, because it's obviously that's definitely not.
And it's an anime too, so anime is usually obviously more like stylish and kind of action oriented, anyways. So that lends itself to like the action sequences in the game. Yeah. Already, you get to see that very stylishly, I guess, I don't know.
Stylistic.
Yeah, with the anime. And then they kind of cherry pick, like, because there's so many of those games and it's such an old franchise that you can kind of cherry pick and then do your own kind of story on it.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I feel like, it's kind of cool to see, people who love these types of stories and have them either adapted into a movie or a TV series, which is cool either way, because they've been talking about doing, like, The Last of Us. Yeah. On HBO, which would be interesting, and I feel like
HBO or a premium movie channel could do it. Yeah.
But then if you think about it too, what about the video games that are very cinematic?
Yeah, well, the thing is Naughty Dog is very like pioneering in that way. Not to say that there aren't other very like cinematic games, but they are definitely very much focused on story and injecting a lot of like cinema and like kind of film like thought and art into their games already. Yeah. So I think it would probably be easier to translate. I don't think though that you're gonna find a lot of, right now at least, games to be able to do that, like the cherry pick from. Yeah. It's becoming more prevalent. But
it is. People are starting to want, their video games to give them something more. They want that, like when you read a book or when you do watch a movie, that escapism from reality. So they're wanting that kind of cinematic combination with it. So you're seeing people be like, this game was great, like, Nathan Drake story, then which Tom Holland is actually being queued to play him. Yep. Yeah. And a movie?
It's a film, yeah, the Uncharted.
I feel like the Uncharted could be a movie.
It is, yeah.
Like, I feel like, that's the one. Like,
so those are, it's Indiana Jones or Tomb Raider, so you could.
I feel like The Last of Us needs to be a TV series for sure. There's a lot to flesh out in that.
Yeah, well, and with that, like with The Last of Us in particular, it's the story is excellent, from the first one, but the world building is like essential there. So with the world building, you don't know, you could go kind of any which way you want, because it's like, well, what about people who maybe lived here? What happened to them? Or maybe we could create new characters, or maybe they were side characters in the games. And I think it would just help kind of round out that world a little bit. And
give you what you didn't get.
Because so much time has passed between like the apocalypse and the beginning of The Last of Us. It's been like 20 years. So it's like, well, what happened
before that?
Yeah, what happened like after kind of the fall of everything? Because it opens very similarly to like Days Gone, but you don't get to see really that in between 20-year kind of period.
No, and you do. Days Gone does a really good job at fleshing that out. And I feel like Days Gone would be an amazing.
Days Gone would be a really cool like TV series
get his voice actor to play him, and
because they modeled the character after him, so he could just play himself as the character he was playing. Yeah, which would be cool.
Which would work that way. Yeah. So what do you want to see? What do you feel like you haven't seen or like to see?
Uncharted, I'm actually kind of iffy about. I feel like it's been in like development hell for like 10 years or something ridiculous. So I wish that movie had come out already a while ago, and they were on like the second or third one if it did well.
We're on their heyday, you mean?
Yeah, because now it's like, there isn't an Uncharted game announced.
But
and
who's
4
to say?
Legacy was kind of like done. But
who's to say that when the movie comes out, it's not going to revamp the video game.
It could, yeah. I think Tom Holland's an excellent choice to play a young
Tom Holland's a great actor.
Yeah, to play like a young Nathan Drake. Before they had like Nathan Fillion, was like rumored as like an older
one. Okay.
which he looks just like
Yeah.
Nathan Drake. So I was like, it has a good voice and kind of like sense of humor and stuff for it as well for that character. So that would have been cool too. I'm trying to think of
like what's the video game recently past played whatever you feel like honestly it's got a good story or just enough just.
I wish like Netflix would pick up maybe like Devil May Cry and do an anime series. There was a 1 season of an anime series of Devil May Cry. I enjoyed it for what it was, and that's when I really did not like that art style at all.
Yeah.
But if they had kind of like the thought and production value, or maybe tied it into Castlevania somehow, because those games are usually more modern anyways, like time wise. I think that would be really cool. Do an anime series of like Devil May Cry. I think you could do also like a premium channel, a la The Last of Us or like Watchmen or something. God of War.
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
Because you could make it like Spartacus kind of a thing or Vikings and stuff
Even
like that.
Even like the newest God of War honestly would be the best one to do a TV series with.
I think you could do
because they eventually
any of the other ones. Yeah,
really?
I think you could really. Those have really good stories. So I think you could go back and do a few Revenge Tale kind of seasons with Kratos, and then
Kratos, man, where's God of War?
And then do kind of a jump in time, and then do the newest one in a later season or over the course of a few seasons. Even.
That is true.
I think that would be really cool.
It
would be like a period piece because you'd either be set in like ancient Greece or you'd be in Norway, so it's like that would be I think really cool and would lend itself better to a TV series. I'm trying to think of maybe some others that would be like good candidates. Talking about Days Gone. Days Gone would be an excellent TV series.
Days Gone would be either TV...
And like you said, you could cast that actor.
Oh, yeah.
To play the role again, but in a TV series, which would be cool. What would be ones that would be like good movies?
I think Neo would be a good movie.
Neo would be a good movie. Yeah.
Just for what it is.
Which then, if that did well, then like Ghost of Tsushima would probably be a good movie.
Would be a good movie.
Yeah, you could do Neo for sure.
I feel like there's enough story like with Mortal Kombat essentially.
Bloodborne would be a good horror movie.
Oh yeah.
Like a good horror movie would be great.
Wake up as a hunter and you're like, the fuck,
or just the story of a hunter because it's like that's player character kind of stuff, so it changes depending on
how you play
or who's playing. So. It could just be the story of a hunter in that world.
That'd be cool. I think
Victorian horror period piece. That would be awesome. I feel like that one would be more action, but a lot like Crimson Peak.
Ooh, it'd be a good one. I don't know if they have these ones. Tales of Assyria.
Tales of Assyria would be good. They might have anime for it.
But it is pretty much an anime, but not the gameplay anime.
Yeah,
but
I think there's like manga based off the Tales series, I think.
Well, manga makes sense. It's essentially a comic book, but I'm just saying in general, like an actual like anime of it, because they do have the anime cutscenes, which are fucking phenomenal. Yeah. And then it's like
they're really good.
But I feel like if they just made it,
would be another good
Yeast
one.
Would be another good one. They have those ones, and then it comes down to the line: what's better, anime or actual?
Yeah, I think it depends on the type of game and what it is, whether it's, a TV series, a movie, or, like an animated series or something.
What do you think, like,
I think The Division would be a cool TV series. Kind of like Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
Like on Amazon Prime. Something along those ones, but it would be like post-apocalyptic and like near future.
That's a movie.
Jack Reacher's a movie, yeah. I'm talking about the one with John Krasinski, yeah. I think that would be...
I thought his wife's more famous than him.
Not anymore.
No, but when
because he directed A Quiet Place, and then he's played Jack Ryan, and now he's in like these like Super Bowl commercials and stuff. Like not anymore. He came back.
But this is funny.
It's kind of like
I love to hear those stories.
It's closer to like Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell.
Yeah, because Kristen Bell's way more.
She's
popular.
way more famous and popular than Dax Shepard. Yeah.
Or no, she did.
Yeah, she was in Frozen.
Elsa. Yeah, she was Elsa. Yeah.
And then A Good Place.
Good Place.
Yeah, she's done these like crazy big movies and TV series.
I know.
Dax Shepard's always just kind of
a stay-home dad now.
These funny comedies. Yeah, just like Freddie Prinze Jr. and
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Sarah Michelle Gellar. whatever. It's fucking all the Sarah similar names. Whatever.
I know, yeah.
But no, I feel like it just like, you know, in the gameplay, obviously what makes it easier to either do anime or not is if his origins are in Japan or America.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, Ys and the Tales series, the artwork is already anime and the cutscenes are anime.
And it just makes it easier just to keep it anime.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can get big-titted women, but it's a little harder to get them that kind of size. You know?
I think a reboot of Resident Evil would be really cool.
Ooh, yeah.
I think those could do either or. Those could be films or a TV series. Because I think they're working on a Netflix series right now.
I didn't like the latter half movies.
I didn't either.
They were just, like, way too off kilter. Like, forget it, it's Resident Evil's off kilter regardless. But it's like, what the fuck is the story going now?
Yeah, I wish they had, because they had some of, like, the OG Resident Evil characters, but not all of them.
Yeah.
I wish they had really, like, focused where the main characters were, like, because it's a lot of them had, like, cameos and stuff, or, like, Wesker was a villain.
Wesker, yeah.
But I wish they had done it where it was, like, okay, in this Resident Evil, you know, you're Chris Redfield, because it's the original.
Yeah.
And then they adapted that, and fleshed it out, though, of course.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in Resident Evil 2, it's like, okay, you're Leon Kennedy now with the Fall of Raccoon City.
Yeah.
And then do Resident Evil 3, the movie.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, now you're Jill.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I think that would be really cool if they character swapped with that, and then they brought, like, the OG Resident Evil characters back.
Because they had, like, they said those spots, and it's like, the very last movie made no fucking sense, where it's like, she's like,
it was supposed to be, like, full circle, but it was, like, so convoluted that by that point it really wasn't full circle.
It's like, I don't know, I have two of those. I don't smoke weed. It's like, you know, fuck off.
Is that how you think people smoke?
No, it's just
click, click. Oh, okay.
Click, you jackass. Where she's a clone of the original person. Like, that doesn't even make sense with the first fucking movie in the slightest.
Yeah, it really derailed there a little bit. But I think you could do, like, horror movies and stuff. Like, one of the movies I'm actually looking forward to, also that had been in development hell, is the new X-Men movie. That's the horror movie. I think
the horror one, yeah.
Comic book movies now going into other genres, like Brightburn, and then this X-Men film that's coming out in, like, the horror genre.
Yeah.
I think you can do, like, comedies, but superheroes. That would be funny. I think you could do, like, hard-boiled, like, detective stuff, like Jessica Jones, but you could have a feature film, and then have your big, like, action blockbusters, like the Avengers and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think like comic books can really start straying into kind of niche genres and doing really well there.
Like we talked about.
Yeah. And I think video games could kind of do the same thing. Like they always want to be an action movie, but I don't necessarily think it has to be that.
Oh, excuse me.
Sonic is probably one of the reasons Sonic is doing so well is because it's just a feel good, like, family movie.
It's just a doofusy movie, yeah.
And it's like, you know, I think it fit its genre.
Yeah.
Like, that's Sonic the Hedgehog, so it didn't, like, lean heavily into, like, you know, go fast and make it an action genre.
Yeah.
An action movie.
No, it's just Sonic being doofusy Sonic.
Just because video games have action, because that's the nature of video games, doesn't mean that they all have to be action movies. Like,
well, and, like, I think I'm going to lose my train of thought. Like, with Sonic's a good one. Crap, I did.
I think a good, like, cult classic one that has done really well, especially with fans afterwards, but is not necessarily a great movie or a great adaptation, but Doom.
That is true. There's a cat in the window and he's opening up a curtain. He's a fat cat.
I think Doom's done really well. Like, that's one where, like, it's a cult classic now. Like, not a great movie, but it's horrible. Just a cult classic. It really has, like, not a lot to do with Doom, per se.
No, God, not the slightest.
Like, it's a little bit. The best part of that movie is the first-person perspective bit. Yeah,
fighting all the monsters and stuff.
Yeah, Carl Urban.
Yeah, they made it into a virus or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Instead of being a Doom,
like I opened a portal to hell.
Open a portal. I think they should just have made it open a portal to hell and then call it a day.
Exactly. Again,
you already making it a fucking virus. Come on now.
They lean more heavily into the action side to Doom rather than the horror side.
Oh, now I remember my train of thought. Because you're playing Ghost Ship, which we...
Oh, Man of Medan.
Man of Medan. And
which is like, pretty much just Ghost Ship.
Which is Ghost Ship.
Yeah,
but that was Ghost Ship was just off the scary story of it, and then it's like, they made it into that video game that you're the Man of Medan.
And that's really good. has like a little bit of like polarizing kind of reviews on it.
Yeah.
However, I started streaming it on YouTube Live, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's a great horror game. It's a lot like Until Dawn, same studio, Supermassive Games, and yeah, the root for the movie Ghost Ship and Man of Medan is from
the lore.
There's like an urban legend about that ship, and so they have different interpretations of it.
They do. But it's kind of like the same beginning.
Man of Medan could easily turn back around and be like a reboot of Ghost Ship, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And it would be a lot like a mashup of Ghost Ship and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Or Scream and Ghost
Scream.
Ship.
Actually, Scream.
Because, like, at the beginning, it's
I
very
did
much...
Last summer. Just,
like...
I love to watch the movie just because it's for Halloween.
I like the first one.
The second one blows balls.
The second one's bad, and then there's a third one.
Which is, like, I think it was a TV... No.
It was a direct-to-DVD.
Direct-to-DVD, yeah. It's kind of like the Final Destination movies. Final Destination.
Oh, Destination, the later ones.
Yeah, where it's like the first one's pretty cool, the second one's not too bad, then you're like, what the fuck? Why? Is there more?
That was like Final Disney like 7 or something like that. It's a great game.
It's kind of what I Know What You Did Last Summer, but Scream can do it because Scream is legit, so.
Scream you can keep like,
Scream makes fun of itself.
Yeah, it's very meta. So,
oh, yeah.
Scream's like one of my favorites. Because
my very favorite last line is in Scream 4 when she says, don't fuck with the originals, you know. Fucking.
Yeah, Scream 4 was definitely a return to form because Scream 3 is the only one of that like quadrilogy.
That's iffy. Yeah, the whole brother
Scream 2
thing.
is probably the best one. Scream 1 probably right behind it, and then Scream 4 right behind that. They're pretty lumped together.
And the third one's the very bottom.
The third one's that was a little
that one's
it took itself too seriously.
Yeah.
Like, they tried to, like...
make it into a horror movie, not a funky movie.
Yeah, and all the other ones, even though it was a slasher, like, they did a really good job making fun of the genre and, like, themselves. But 3, like, strayed away from that a little bit.
Yeah, her whole, my brother from my mom's first, mom's a horror shit. It's like, that's
and
too
it was
far.
just a lot more serious, like, overall in tone than the other ones ever were.
It was stupid.
Like, there was always characters that made fun of the genre or were huge movie buffs and stuff.
Yeah.
They're watching other horror movies or even more meta watching the stab movies within the Scream movies.
Yeah,
like,
you know.
Because is it Scream 2 that opens where they do like all the openings through all the stab movies?
No, that's 4.
4.
Because they're making fun of it, because then they go off with the joke about how they made too many of them.
Which is great, yeah. That's why 4 is kind of a return to form.
Yeah,
Like, they figured it out again. And Wes Craven did a good job with that one.
Yeah.
Came back and did it.
But I'm just saying in general, it's like, you know, it's cool to see that they're...
Wolfenstein.
Ooh.
Wolfenstein would be a good movie and or TV series because it's action-packed and you can actively enjoy
got Nazis.
Nazis, war story.
War story.
And it's alternate history.
True. And they could even do one with his daughters,
and
too.
you can make it, like, sci-fi kind of stuff, because you do go to the moon, and you do go to Venus.
I think my favorite's where she's, like, the Wolfenstein, his wife's usually pregnant and naked and shooting Nazis.
Oh, it's covered in blood and stuff?
And he's like, I've never loved you more.
Yeah. I think
he like, takes the ring off of the dead corpse's arm and proposes to her.
Yeah, that was at the end of Wolfenstein 2, New Colossus.
Yep.
It's so good.
It's so good.
And then the very typical, which I don't think resonates with younger generations as much, but being born in the late 80s and then growing up through the 90s, which is very similar vernacular-wise to the 80s.
Yep.
And even fashion-wise. We're pretty damn close, 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
But the 80s sibling banter
Oh, yeah.
comes
you
across
don't know
as
this.
corny to younger people.
No, it's
but that's
true.
how it was, though, in the 90s and 80s.
It's because I have siblings, and I mean, close to my age is what I'm stabbing at, because they're twins, and, like, you don't have that because you were an only child.
I didn't have siblings, but being, like, at school and stuff, it was the same kind of conversation.
Siblings are bantering. I banter with my little sister all the time, forgetting, you know, like, for their twins, you know, they did all the age, you're a minute older, shut up, you know.
Yeah, and that's the kind of banter that the twins have in Youngblood. So I think that would translate to, like, a really good, like, TV season or its own separate movie, even.
True, yeah.
Because you could do pretty much each game a film. And
Oh, yeah.
because those campaigns aren't terribly long, and
No,
I think it would give enough time to build up like certain characters and stuff.
Oh yeah, doing a movie.
And you'd have
essentially.
BJ Blazkowicz, in like the first 2 films, and then in the
His
third one you
daughters.
could age him up a little bit, or depending on how far productions were apart, then you could recast for his daughters and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be I think a cool.
There's one you haven't brought, and I'm surprised you haven't. Horizon Zero Dawn. That would be
Horizon Zero Dawn would be good, yeah. I think,
or even TV series.
I think that would be a better like TV series.
You think so?
Yeah, it'd have to be on like a premium channel though, just because of like the amount of CGI that would have to go into it. But the story is really long and kind of it's not complicated per se, but there's a lot going on.
True, there's a lot of.
So I think that would be a good like HBO like TV series
Yeah.
if you did Horizon Zero Dawn.
I think so too. But back to the head of things. I honestly feel like it's cool to see, like I was saying, that they're taking how they have video games with cinematic things, seeing how popular they are, or how cool this would be in either a movie or TV series.
There's one thing we haven't really discussed is video games are becoming more cinematic and more like story driven kind of devices because hardware has kind of caught up to it.
Yeah.
So like having multiple cameras and light sources in a video game wasn't really feasible before.
True.
So now you can have a ton of different light sources, a ton of different tracking shots. You can mimic like real world film productions inside of a video game and have it render live for you as you play.
True.
Depending on, what you do as the character. And so because the technology has caught up as far as like in-home consoles, it makes it a little easier then to be able to translate to film because you're already mimicking film.
Yeah, you're
in
editing
these cinematic games. When before it was like, okay, well we can only have 2. Like they're like virtual boxes pretty much where sound can come from.
Yep.
And we can only have X amount of light sources. Well, we can only have this one camera, but it can't track. It has to be fixed.
Yeah.
So it's like it makes it very kind of stilty. It's like we're pretty much going from like the silent or black and white film era to Technicolor now.
Yeah.
Or from Technicolor to like CGI. It's like
That's true.
It's just the video game industry is nowhere near as old as the film industry.
True.
Just in the same way that the film industry isn't as nearly as old as books. Yeah, literature. So.
And then word of mouth, and then we get the aliens. But yeah.
But yeah, I think it becomes more.
I've got another adaptations of the alien movies into video games.
Yeah, well, like Alien Isolation is pretty dope.
Yep.
Yeah, that was good.
Dope diggity. Are you gonna dab it now?
No.
Okay.
Dope's older than.
Oh,
I guess
groovy.
it's groovy. Like, yeah, I guess it's groovy.
At this point would have preferred groovy, but
groovy, groovy.
It's cool to see. We're finally catching up. We're able to do all this really neat shit, and I think in the next 10 years it's gonna be even cooler.
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna get really cool film adaptations and television adaptations of video games, and then vice versa. I think we're gonna get really cool.
A VR movie, and we're like the main character,
Yeah, like
live the movie. Wait, what?
Ready Player One or something,
No,
or
well, yeah, Ready Player One is a good example right there.
The what's the new one with Ryan Reynolds coming out this summer?
Good Guy or something. I think it's Good Guy.
Yeah.
Or his name. Good Joe, good something. It looks fucking funny. I don't remember.
Very, video game based as well, so that'd be kind of funny. Plays Ryan Reynolds in a video game.
That'd be funny.
I'm sure they'll do a Fortnite skin for it.
Oh, God, probably. They're already on their tracks to doing that, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They already have, like, John Wick and stuff in it. So.
That's what I mean, yeah. I mean, they have what? He's in the video game. What? I forget his name. God damn it. Dude who plays John Wick. Keanu Reeves. What?
Yeah.
I don't know why I forgot to do a blank. He's
in Cyberpunk. Yeah.
2077.
Which is by CD Projekt Red, who did The Witcher.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Exactly. See?
Which is hilarious.
It's full circle there.
Well, just like the actor that played Deacon St. John.
Yep.
Yeah.
They skinned him because he's got a really unique look.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
We saw him in that weird horror anthology. Yeah, over Halloween that was on Amazon Prime.
Because his voice sounds so familiar, and we looked it up.
He's Deacon St. John. I played I think I played 120 hours of that game or something ridiculous.
Yeah, I know, right?
Last year.
was a good game.
But yeah, I think that's a wrap for episode 23. We just kind of wanted to stop in and talk about video game to film adaptations, or vice versa.
Yeah, I just been seeing so much people like, make this into a movie, make this into a TV series, or things that I have been. It's like,
not like you saw the article about Last of Us.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
I hadn't seen that.
It's good to kind of see what happens when you take a nap. No, I was kidding.
I never take a nap. What the hell? I'm always awake.
It's been years.
I take a nap and all hell breaks loose.
I know, right? Toddlers running naked, fucking dogs everywhere, and shit happens. I don't know.
Couch is on fire.
It's a colt in the backyard.
There's always a colt in the backyard.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
There are dogs.
I know, cult of Kratos. Anyways.
That'd be a good God of War game. Cult of Kratos.
Right. But I feel like, it's good to kind of just stop in, say hi.
Hi.
So what's up?
Hi,
Test
for an hour.
Test out our new headphones. God damn it. Microphones. Phones of sounds.
Which have nice little cozies on them too.
They look like giant fuzzy balls.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're just giant fuzzy balls.
I think it's to make them look like Yetis.
But they need faces on them.
There was other ones that they weren't fuzzy though that had faces on them. And it was like a little zipper.
I could paint faces.
No, I like how it is. I like the faceless Yeti.
Oh God. Anyways, Cancer, any wrap up housekeeping?
We're renaming the podcast Faceless Yeti.
No, we're not.
Oh.
We could go back to Wet Koala Productions.
No, that's okay. ASInquisitor's better. ASInquisitor LLC.
Anyways, fine, kind sir, whatever you are.
No, I think we're good. I think we really hit everything at the beginning of the episode. Yay. So plus we have our snazzy little intro and outro. Which we'll probably have to re-record with the new mics.
Yeah, we're going to have to do that. Damn it. All right. Well, with that being said then, as always, follow the bear.
My name's Anthony Schultz.
My name's Ariel Schultz.
Have a good night.
Follow the bear.
Peace.
Bye.
Hey there, guys. This is Anthony Schultz, one half of the duo for Rage Quit. I just wanted to spend a minute or two, at most, talking about Ariel and I's other endeavors or where you can follow her and I if you're a fan of this podcast. So, I'm most prolific on Twitter as far as social media is concerned. I share more kind of gut reaction or private experiences and opinions there. I'm at Anthony R. Schultz. Pretty easy to remember, just my name. And if you'd be so inclined, you can give me a follow, and I also drop Rage Quit links there every week, and other things that Ariel and I are both working on. ASInquisitor also streams, which is the production company that produces Rage Quit, essentially myself at the moment. And I stream 5 days a week. I'm a variety streamer, so I do a little bit of everything. Hopefully, there's something there that you would really enjoy, even if it's just 1 day a week. I take every Thursday and Friday off, and you can follow and or subscribe at twitch.tv/ASInquisitor. All these links that I'm mentioning will be in the description box below, and I will reiterate. Also, ASInquisitor has a YouTube channel. So if you're not listening to this podcast via YouTube, if you're using your preferred podcast provider, this podcast does make its way to YouTube. We will eventually be recording not only our voices, but also ourselves when we do the podcast. We're just working on some equipment issues right now. But we also have past streams that I've done for ASInquisitor that have a little bit more kind of polish or pizzazz to them. They're divided up into better bite-sized chunks for complete game playthroughs or Let's Plays. There's also a lot of unique content there. I record things throughout the week as I play games, just kind of funny moments or maybe even personal achievements, things of that nature. And so you can search for ASInquisitor on YouTube. And again, the link will be in the description below. But those are my 3 kind of primary platforms that you can find me on. So that's Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. Ariel actually has her own YouTube channel called Painting with LM Schultz. She's a very talented painter. She has her fine arts degree and enjoys painting for cathartic reasons, as well as to improve on her like technical prowess. So she started her own YouTube channel to improve on her techniques, as well as show people kind of some basics or things that you can do painting wise. There's also some other kind of crafty do-it-yourself kind of ideas and videos on there as well that pertain a little bit more personally to her and I, because they usually involve our family. It's a family project that she's working on. For example, she did our son's Halloween costume, and so she walked through how she constructed and created the costume, and how you could do something similar for your kiddos at home. And then finally, you can follow Ariel on Twitter as well. She is primarily on Twitter, just like myself. We don't really indulge in too many other social media platforms, save for maybe Instagram. I don't think we're as active on there. Ariel might be, more so than myself. But you can follow her at Merhobbit and give her a follow as well. That's my lovely co-host and beautiful wife, Ariel. But anyways, I just wanted to stop in and kind of throw some links your way. And if you were curious about what ASInquisitor was doing and how Rage Quit kind of fit into that ecosystem, there it is. Yeah, got all the links for you. If you're interested in any one of those, all of those links are going to be in the description box below, and they're going to be in every podcast episode now. So I'm not sure if they're entirely there right now, but I'm going to be doing a fresh write-up and make sure and have all of those included for you. So just click a link or copy and paste and head on over if any of those strike your fancy. But anyways, thanks for enjoying the show. Really appreciate it. We'll be back next week for more rage quittiness. And as always, follow the bear. And have a good evening, guys.